So I'm going to talk about Kailua High School and our work-based learning program, and from our surf centers to Project Life. And so, what is work-based learning? Work-based learning connects our classroom to our classroom curriculum and instruction to authentic work experiences. It helps to, I'm sorry, I have to move this screen over. It helps to strengthen our technical and employability skills. So at Kailua High School, we do have on-campus work sites, and we call them surf centers because we're the surf riders. All certificate students participate in a work site. We work on IEP goals as well as learning new skills, work closely with our service providers in these centers, and we connect them to real life opportunities. So we work with our speech, OT, PT, whatever service providers the students may have at the time, RBTs, BCBAs, things like that. We start to connect our students with DVR or DOH if it's appropriate. Some students will receive a stipend while working in these centers. On campus work sites we really try to concentrate on soft skills as well as the technical skills, but it's really teaching those soft skills so that we can take them out into the community. We have a really good partnership right now with Donald Kilo Pacific, who provide job readiness classes at Kailua High School, and then they provide job coaching at our surf centers and our off campus work sites. So on our we have these life skill centers. So these are the students that need a little bit more hand over hand, need a little bit more help in doing these jobs. And so we have surf chefs, surf laundry, surf boutique, which is actually run by our speech and OT, and so that's Spot, parking patrol and recycling, and these really hit life skills, things that they would need for independent living, such as meal prepping, doing the laundry. Boutique really works on communication, teamwork, and their fine motor skills. Parking patrol, we've learned this from Farrington High School, and we focus on safety in the parking lots. And then they learn to like read tags and things like that, and so to make sure our staff is in compliance in parking. And then recycling, sorting, cleaning, doing things like that. Okay. And then we also have our employment centers. So these are a little bit more, there's more skill set that's involved. So we have the surf shop, which is our print shop that services both the school and the community. And they do things like printing, apparel, cups, bags. Students actually learn how to run a business because we do take the orders. We produce the products. So they do screen printing, heat pressing, things like that. And then they have to sort and then, send them out to community, build them, things like that. And then we have our Surf's Coffee and Cafe, and this is our coffee cart and after school cafe that we just opened this year. So a lot of skills are being learned out there also. Surf's Vending, where they run a vending machine on campus, two vending machines, one for students and one for staffs. Detailing is something brand new. We do have a brand new bus that we were able to purchase last year. And so their main concern is clearing and cleaning of our bus, but they also have expanded to doing staff cars. Gardening, maintain gardens, aquaponic systems, and just campus greenery around the area. And we have one student who does surf security, which is Titan, who you did see on Island Life Live. And he assists with the security, making sure that kids are back in, they're not wandering hallways and they're in class on time, and things like that. And he also makes sure that our certificate students are where they need to be. So he has a walkie-talkie that he talks to the teachers and make sure everybody's in their right places. So this year, there's our bus, and there's our first ride that we took, and our bus in Waikiki at Outrigger. So we have several off-campus work sites. So Roundtable Pizza in Kailua has been a huge partner for us for many years. I think I've been at Kailua for about 15 years, so I've been with them then and then plus longer. So at Roundtable Pizza, their main jobs are folding boxes, setting the dining room, cleaning tables and chairs, vacuuming, cleaning the windows, preparing the ranch dressing cups, and just almost anything that needs to be done. So at Roundtable, again, we're off campus now, so we're really trying to reinforce those soft skills, such as working as a team, being professional, leadership. So you'll notice they're all wearing uniforms. And that's something that if they're not dressed appropriately, then they don't get to go off campus. So it's part of being at work, right? And then some of the skills that they learn out there and we connect with their services is speech. So they have to learn how to communicate together, advocate for things that they need. And then OT, the folding boxes, is a lot of fine motor skills. And our providers will come out to the site and work on things like that with them. And then a new one a partnership we started this year is Monterey Elementary School. they have what they call these Tuesday folders, and they needed desperate help to collect them and resort them and send them back out. So we have two students there, and again, it's reinforcing the skills that we teach at school. Is really the soft skills that we're trying to hit, and they have to learn how to read the folders and organize them and sort them, and then being able to take them back out. And then if they have questions, they need to speak. So we have a student who she doesn't speak that often, but if there's a problem, she's forced to do it, and so that's been really good. Where we've seen them really step outside of the box and be able to share what they're doing. Okay, so Project Life, and I think Sean Hoff might be on. And so, Sean, if you're on, I can't see anybody on this while I'm presenting. You can chime in whenever you need to. But this year, it's the 50th anniversary of Project Life, and it's their 50th. We're the 50th replication in the 50th state. So it was kind of a big deal that we joined at this time. It's a transition program that provides a transition curriculum with authentic work experiences. Last school year, we visited Honolulu District's Project Life program, who is run by Patricia Meyer, and we got to see what they were doing and how they were working, and we just like totally fell in love with it and felt like this is what we really need at our school. Um, we saw the curriculum, we saw her data tracking, and we were just like, how can we do this? And so with the help of our district teacher, Tami Ogata, we were able to get it funded by our district educational specialist, Keala. And we have great support from them and also from Sean Hoff, who I text him almost daily. And then we have Outrigger Hotel's Director of Organizational Development, Pila Hansen, who bridged us to Outrigger. Um, and then again, we still work with Lanakila Pacific Employment Services Manager David Comfort, who actually comes to our job site, does job coaching, and then voc rehab, which is how the kids get their stipends. Okay. So what we found with the curriculum was that it's Google Slides, there's videos, there's assessments, and it was really easy to modify to fit our needs. So a lot of things, Project Life is based in Ohio, so a lot of the lessons had to be I have to modify to have it for Hawaii, right? Because we have very different needs. We don't have to go in order. So for example, the other day we had a student who was upset at a job site, and he didn't take the criticism that we were trying to do, and so there was a perfect lesson that we could pop up and we could do it for the day. And so we were able to connect what was happening at work with this curriculum and then take it back out there again. And so there's three domains in Project Life: life at home, life at work, and life in the community. And so then they're able to bridge together how these things all intertwine together. And my students like to do the lessons and take control of the class, so we have Heno teaching the lesson that day. Okay. The other thing that we really fell in love with was job site reports. And this was the part that I, as a teacher, was having a difficult time with, was, finding ways to assess them. And so with this, it really honed in on what I needed to do and, figure out what the job tasks were and what was the employee standard. And so with this, we went back and forth with Tammy, Corey and I worked on it, and then we called Sean. And so it was a really good way for us to figure out, okay, what are we actually going to assess and what's important. And then on this also, which you don't see, you can actually add IEP goals that might be specific for that student or that intern, and that you can track that also. So we have life planning meetings. It should be held twice a year. This year, because we're just getting started, we're going to do just the end of the year one. So students are starting to work on their slides, and that would include their intern. So their interns, I'm sorry, the intern, families, the instructor, our worksite mentor, if there is one, and then different service providers. They share about their goals and experiences and their life plan. So it's similar if you're familiar with a senior capstone project. So a lot of our CTE pathways do senior capstone projects. So this is similar to that. And then I can see if I can click the link. So this is we were working through it, and it goes through like things that about yourself. And then they have to really dig deep and think about, like, what do I like to do? What am I good at? What do I want to do later? Right. How am I going to live? And it just goes through preferences. So it's kind of similar to your pins that you guys are familiar with also. Yeah. Okay, so our new partnership this year is Outrigger Waikiki Reef Hotel, and so we have 6 interns there, and we have 2 support staff. So we have Miss Risa, Trevor, Rayson, Brian, Titan, Mr. Corey, who's my co-teacher, Heno, Anella, Mr. Chris, who's our support staff, and then myself. Um, and this has been like a huge plus to our program. They work in 3 areas right now. Food and beverage is the first one. They work in the Voyager Club, so Henna and Anala work there, and they're responsible for clearing and wiping the tables, putting buffet items away, restocking coffee supplies, utensils, buffet area, sweeping, anything that can be done. And then it's kind of cool because in some of these sides you'll notice like this is our big. There's a manager there, so they're working side by side with the employees, kind of keeping the grill. They move down there later and they do set tables, they roll silverware, and then they serve smoothies. So again, a lot of the skills that we taught in class is being used at the Outrigger. What's really cool is that these kids are working 2 hours straight, and so we're seeing that they're able to work these long periods of time. At school, for some reason, they need a break every 15 minutes, but at Outrigger, they go for 2 hours until lunch with no complaints and just keeping busy. The next area that we work at is the valet and bell desk, and that's Titan and um, Trevor. Anella sometimes goes down there. She's one. Titan and Anella is some of the few that if we're short-handed, they'll move around. So they're the first person that guests see when arriving at the outrigger, right? So then it's very important for them to be. So you can see Titan. That's the stance they're taught. They have to aloha and welcome, and everyone's expected to do this. We're expected to be in the outrigger way. They open and close the car doors for guests. They tie bags accordingly and store them in the correct places, assist with baggage to and from guest rooms, and help to deliver lunch to various departments. So as you can see, they're working on alongside the employees again.
Sherry, can you advance? There you go. We didn't see this slide when you were talking about it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's lagging. Okay, so can you see the housekeeping one now? Is it moving okay?
Yes, it's moving great.
Okay, so the third area that we work at is housekeeping. And again, they're even if they're cleaning, they need to stop and greet the guests. So there's a lot of eye contact. These 6, a lot of them communication is difficult for them. And so to see them standing tall and saying good morning and hello, it's just been amazing. They assist with various tasks. It changes all the time. They vacuum and sweep hallways, clean the foyer, picture frames, cabinets. They had to mop the deck the other week because it was just rainy. They clean the lobby area, and just it's whatever is given to them. They're always willing to do it. If you can see in the top left picture, that's David Comfort. So he comes to do job coaching, and in the bottom right, that's actually the he's the new manager, and so he's like teaching them how to do it and working alongside them. They love. I keep telling them like we can do the work, but they love to be with them. So that's been really fun, and the kids enjoy that. Okay, so the outcomes. We truly feel we're a part of the Outrigger family. We're expected to do things the Outrigger way. We're held to their same standards as the Outrigger employees. We direct directly with them. We're side by side. Work is now meaningful. We're not just doing work to work. It's actually work that employees do, so it's very meaningful. We continue to work closely with Lani Kilo Pacific, our OT, and our and our speech language. Right now, that's the service providers that most of our kids have. Um, the impacts that we saw, confidence has been amazing, and they've grown so much. They're advocating for themselves, communication, teamwork, leadership. They take leadership roles. Anella is our boss, and she always makes sure that they're in line. Social skills and the technical skills. So the social skills, I think, was something that we weren't. They were friends already, but then now when we're having lunch, they're sitting down together and they're talking and they're having fun and they're engaging. And we watched that. We stepped back the other day and we're like, wow, this is so fun. Like they're like real employees. They're in the lunchroom having fun and talking story with everyone. And that was it's really neat to see them like growing in that way. We were lucky enough, Keala sent a team to visit Project Life in Ohio. And so Sean's on the left, and then Tammy, Pila, Michelle, myself, and Corey, and then Tony, who's his boss. And oh my gosh, I can't remember the one that's behind Tammy. I'm sorry. We met him for a brief second. Okay, so at Project Life, we got to see the various work centers that was there. there's a fun video, but I didn't want to put it on because of the lagging. But they're actually racing to fold the forks. We got to see them working at Sanmar in this big warehouse. They were working in like a not really a department store, a hardware store. And then they run a coffee shop. They're working in a hospital, working in hotels. And we were lucky to see their open house. And so we got to talk to a lot of the students and see what they were doing at their various job sites and what did we learn and what were the benefits. I think for us, like, we really learned that we were on the right track. We just needed something to kind of help us, like, to bring this back full circle for us. We learned that the students, we have to continue to hold them to high standards, and that we need to push them. And it's okay for them to get frustrated. I think as teachers and as parents, we always think like, oh, we don't want, we don't want to get them frustrated, we don't want to get them upset. But I think we learned that it's okay, that's how they learn, and we just have to be in a supportive environment. So I think that's what Project Life gives us, along with Outrigger. And it gives us a supportive environment for us to work with these students and to really push them to their fullest potential. um, and it validated a lot of things that we were doing. So I think just the benefits for me was that it really brought us to. I'll leave our emails there. You can also email Corey. It I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, but I think, like, with Project Life, it just really brought what we needed. The curriculum and the data taking was really what we really needed help with. And then I think if Sean is on, if he want to talk a little bit more about Project Life, I think we have some time.
Uh, I would, Sherry did a very good job of sharing what you do with the program and kind of what it's all about. So I would just, if anyone's got any questions, I'll be happy to answer anything.
There is a question from Kimo. He said it's such a, he gave a big mahalo. It's such a positive impact. Any suggestions on how to share with our high school? I don't know what high school that is.
I would say if it is something that another school is interested in, um, I'm actually in a vehicle right now. So Sherry, if somebody's interested, please feel free to share my contact information, and then I could reach out, or they could reach out to me, and we could have a conversation if it's something that they want to investigate, what to bring to their school.
And there was a question, how many days and hours per week do the students work at the Project Life site?
Okay, so at Outrigger, we work twice a week. We're there for 2 hours of work, and then they also, we're fortunate that Outrigger actually feeds them lunch, so we get to stay there for lunch. The bus was something really huge too, that we were able to purchase the bus, because that allowed us to be outside of Kailua now. We were doing a lot of things. We were doing great things at Round Table, and you know when Time Supermarket was Time Supermarket, and in various areas in the community. But having the bus got us to Outrigger, and that's where we really saw like this huge growth, because these kids were working for 2 hours. I mean, and we are like, oh my God, we're halfway to a part-time shift. And I think that was amazing for us to see.
And I would say in our original Project Life program up in Cincinnati, Ohio, we've got different levels of programs. So some of our students are on job sites for 2 hours, and some of our students are on job sites for 3 hours, with the intent, as we grow from level to level. We started Project Life to build capacity, build the skills needed for success into Project Search, which is kind of that's why were created, was to get students ready for success in Project Search. If people are familiar with that program as well.
I just put Sean's email in the chat, and then I can also put mine in there again. And I would say, if there's schools on and they're inquiring, I think reach out to your district teachers. That's how we were connected. Patty, I think Patricia Meyer, Patty is Honolulu district, and then
Probably
Tammy.
slide down or come back here and slide.
Make sure you're muted, folks, okay? Thank you, Sherry. There's a couple more questions in the chat here. Someone was asking if this is a paid internship or is it volunteer?
For some of them, it is paid with our through DVR, and so that I think that's very important. That if your child has not done the intake, and I think we have some DVR people on there that could probably share more insight. Has not done the intake, then that's something that's important to do also. Um, and I see. So how long is the rotation also? Um, so right now, because it's our first year and we really were trying to build the capacity for Outrigger, they're staying in at Outrigger in their specific sites for the entire time. But we would want them to rotate at least every 10 to 12 weeks so that they learn different areas. And then at Round Table and Monowilly, we started that a little bit later. So this year they'll just stay in that site. But we do want to rotate them if possible so that they can do the different skills, and then we can see if they're able to transfer these skills to different jobs. And then it's also the placement of them. I think that's the question I always get is how did we decide where to place them? So it's a lot of doing the pins, right? So we're looking at their preferences and their interests, and then but sometimes we do put them in something that maybe they didn't think they were interested in, and so a lot of it is just getting to see what they can do and what they need or interest might be, because we had kids who said, no, I don't want to work in food, and then now they love it, or I don't want to be having to talk to people, and they like it. So I mean, they're high school students, and then when I was in high school, like I think when I was in college I changed my major like 10 times. So like just being able to dabble and see what they like, and then when they're at the closer to exiting high school, then we really try to narrow in down on what specific job that they would like, and then try to get them experience in those areas.
And Anne Marie asked if we know if is there a Project Life on the Leeward side?
I believe it's Honolulu and Kailua district. I mean complex that's doing it. I'm not sure. I know there's some project searches on island. Yeah, sorry, I'm not.
So we have the programs that we have on Oahu. Of course, we have Kailua High School there. We have Honolulu, and then in the Central District, we have both the AMR and LMW complexes. There's nothing on the Leeward complex at this time.
That's a yet or right now, hopefully. And as Sherry said, go ahead and talk to your district educational specialists. Talk to your resource teachers at the district level and say, hey, how do we bring this program over here? And if you, as a parent, maybe you know somebody who's willing to get some interns at a job. If you work someplace and you say, hey, we can use some extra support, or someone owns a company, then you can talk to them about having students come in. So we really do often look at our community and our families in the community to make some of these connections for us. So if you know of a place, reach out to your district folks and see if we can get them started over there. There's also a question here. Leilani asked, what is the rate of retention for if the students do get hired by companies in the community?
Yes, they do. We have a lot of students working in Kailua community, as well as I think two that work for Laniakila Pacific. So what has been really nice with the partnership that we've had with our community and Laniakila Pacific is that students are able to intern in these work sites, and the employers are able to see them work, and then they see beyond the disability now, and they're able to see what they can provide for them, and so they are hired. So I shared with Amanda this story when we were talking that I have a student that works in Safeway, and I don't always want to buy poke, but every time he sees me, he's like, "Hey, Missy Keta," and I'm like, "Okay, what did you make today? I'll buy it." And and so it's cool for me to see them out in the community working. We have one that she was working in our print shop, and Lonnie Keela was able to see her. She went through the DVR summer youth program, worked in Lonnie Keela's print shop, and then she was hired before she exited the DOE. So she was working there part-time while coming to school. So I think it has made a tremendous impact where the employers are able to see these students and see what they're doing, or just see it on their job resumes right now, and then they're willing to take that risk and hire them.
Awesome, thank you. And Cheryl Matthews, who's here. from the DVR. She had mentioned that for competitive integrative employment through DVR, that's a 20-hour, that's a part-time position. So this is a great way then for students to start to build that capacity to work longer days. And I love, Sherry, that you said at school, they're like every 15 minutes, need a break, need a break. But once they're in that integrated employment, they're working alongside. They don't see their people, taking breaks every 5 or 10 minutes. They're working right along with them. So the expectations for them to be working through their shift is also there, and that's great. Does anybody else have questions? I'm sorry, I cut somebody off. So go ahead if you have a question.
This is Cheryl again. I do have one question, a follow-up question. Is the intention of Project Life to have them employed after their experience?
Yes.
It isn't,
It is.
employment is the intention.
Yes.
Thank you.
I would say for Kailua there, you guys don't have Project Search at this point. Our home base, our intention in creating the program was specifically designed to get students ready for participation in Project Search.
Right.
So ultimately, obviously, which is a little bit more rigorous and more integrated for that successful. And then we do have 32 of our programs, of our Project Life programs across the country align to a Project Search in those given communities. And so the goal is there for those that align and have a Project Search opportunity would be for succession then into the Project Search program, ultimately leading to employment.
Right. And so as a follow-up, if your intention or your expectation is employment, would the intention then be for employment 20 hours a week if they're only working 2 days a week at one or 2 hours a week? Are they capable of expanding their capacity to meet a minimum of 20 hours?
I think so. Because this is giving us opportunity to work in longer hours, because when we do write our WBL now, we're limited to maybe an hour a day at sites. I think at Ouiger we could also expand it longer. It's just limited to our school day. But I see that I see them working these 2-hour shifts and they're ready to go after lunch again. I'm like, sorry, we have to get back on the bus and go home. So I see the growth in them in this little time. I think we started working at Ouiger in October, and it's just been amazing. Like I think that when these 6 should be entering, applying for a summer youth employment program in the summer with DVR, and I can totally picture them just working a 20-hour week.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Sherry, for coming on a Saturday and spending your time with us and sharing about Project Life and the program there at Kailua High School.
Can I say something? Sorry.
Yes.
Hello. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
All right. So I'm Reggie. I'm a Project Search instructor. And I know there's some questions about what districts have what. So just to let you guys know, Leeward District has a Project Search program, and currently Campbell and Kapolei students are serviced at Disney Aulani, which is their first year. That's a big get for us for Project Search. Palimomi Medical services Waipahu and Pro City high schools primarily. And then the third Project Search program in the Central District is at Kaiser Hospital, where I teach. So there is Project Search programs out there along with Project Life. Central District, we have Project Life as well. And we feel that's the model, is having Project Life train the students to get ready, as Sean said, for Project Search experience. And I feel Project Search should be that last bit of very high demanding internship based opportunities before they apply for jobs in the real world. So we do have both programs running. In Central, we have Project Search in Leeward, Project Life only in Honolulu, and Project Life only in Windward, and nothing in the outer islands. So it's growing. We do need more support, I think, and we need more education and more people pushing the program. But yeah, it's definitely a life-changing experience for interns. Project Life is such a wonderful program and Project Search as well. So just wanted to let you guys know what schools are participating in what programs.
Thank you, Reggie. We appreciate that because they just sound so similar, Project Life, Project Search, but just wanted to make sure we clarify Project Life is a multi-year, kids can build on that experience. Project Search is a 1-year, very intensive program to prepare them for getting that integrated support, employment once they leave school. Is that right?
Correct. So I would say, 40 to 50% of the time at Project Life is internship based, and the other portion is academic based. Project Search, you'd see a lot more 70, 80% internship based, really integrated, hands-on, high expectations in their host business, and 20 to 25% academic. So there's a little shift there with the expectations and how we divide the time at the host business.
Very good explanation there, Reggie, of that difference between thinking about instructional versus internship. Very, very good description.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you to all of you. We really appreciate that. What a great program. And if you're interested in trying to get this program in your district, if you're a neighbor island school, talk to your district educational specialist, talk to your RT teachers, and see how we can get it going. But remember that it takes people, it takes support. One person can't do it by themselves. So try to get a team together and get it going. But I'm so excited. It did start with just one school, and now we're expanding. So we just keep growing. When things work, we want to make sure it works in more locations. So awesome sauce.